I'm a bit of a creative person, so I'm like a musician, so I play guitar. Compose, and I'd happily like hit William around the head with my guitar. I think that would work in like...
That's good.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Excellent. And what skills do you have?
I would say if you gave me a rifle, I'd be pretty nifty with that.
Skills, rifle.
He's everything I wanted, you know. He stands up for gingers around the world, which I, you know, like, and he's a cause that I'd happily die for.
There's something medieval about Prince Harry's fights with Prince William. The exiled Duke of Sussex is airing it out with his elder brother, the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Cambridge, heir to the throne. Harry even claims that William pushed him to the floor, breaking his necklace in the process. English princes of old wouldn't tolerate such a slight.
So what we'd expected in the Middle Ages, probably, particularly Harry as the younger son, you'd have expected with that he'd have returned to Sussex, potentially raised an army, but most crucially he'd have reached out to the King of France, the natural enemy of the English monarch. Harry would have put into Sussex, put out a letter to Emmanuel Macron, and would have started to try to establish some kind of alliance.
But in 21st century Britain, would anyone sign up to fight for a man who could well still believe God wants him to be king if 4 of his closest relatives died?
To what you would have had in a medieval context. Those who do not think kindly of the royal family at present or have their own concerns about the institution will piggyback onto that. And it's something we see with medieval rebellions, particularly of sons against monarchs, because that provides kind of a legitimate voice of dissent, if you will. You're not rebelling against the principle of monarchy, you're setting up an alternative, if you will. You're backing a better, more just monarch. So those who have grievances with the regime are often very quick to piggyback on these rebellions, even if they don't care so deeply about the individual.
I want to know, is there anyone in Brighton who will fight for Harry, England, and St George? Excuse me, madam. Do you fancy joining Prince Harry's army?
Sorry, mate, I'm literally on the way to an appointment.
You can join after to sort out all the, instead of writing books and having interviews on ITV, we're trying to do it the old-fashioned way.
What's the old-fashioned way?
Open battle. Ian?
If there was a battle, yeah.
You'd be happy to fight for Sussex?
Maybe. What are you talking about? Maces and shit?
Maces, trebuchets, whole thing. Proper medieval. What do you fancy?
Yeah, that would be fucking sick.
Excellent. Okay, can I sign you up?
I just think he gets a bit too much, like, abuse.
Yeah.
So I want to show my support.
So you're willing to lay down your life for
Harry?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you fancy fighting for Prince Harry?
Sorry?
Do you fancy fighting for Prince Harry?
Voting bid.
Fighting.
Facing him.
Fighting. Fighting.
Fighting.
Yeah. Sorry, you have to use your accent.
I'm a bit of a creative person, so I'm like a musician, so I play guitar. Compose, and I'd happily like hit William around the head with my guitar. I think that would work in like...
That's good.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Excellent. And what skills do you have?
I would say if you gave me a rifle, I'd be pretty nifty with that.
Skills, rifle. Excellent. Do you fancy signing up?
Sure.
What was your name?
My name's Lauren.
Lauren. How old are you, Lauren?
I'm 20 as well.
20 as well. Perfect. And what skills do you have?
It's a difficult one.
You're pretty hench.
Hench.
Yeah, hench. Let's go with that hench.
Class.
We were talking about how many people would have to die for him to be king.
Oh, it's tons. It's
quite a lot.
It's like...
What, Harry?
It's like,
it's like 8.
The whole of William's family.
It'd be like a tragic accident.
He's a little bit, I think he's done a little undue justice because every single thing about his new book is reported as though he wants it reported, but I think he's just written a book.
He's such a
I'm a
tough
bit
question.
torn now, actually. I was like massively royal family, but after the whole Harry and Meghan thing, I just feel a bit bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I'm not, I want to say I'm not bothered, but that sounds a bit bad, so I don't know.
You're bothered enough to join the army?
Bothered enough to join the army? I don't know. Tough question.
Yeah.
Feel like he's getting a lot of bad publicity, you know, for coming out on such a large monarchy, you know. Something that's as old as time, you know. But they're just as outdated as they are, you know, stale bread.
So Harry's the vehicle to counter that?
How does my conclusion come to that?
No, sorry. Harry's the vehicle to counter, like, you back Harry to take down the monarchy?
Yeah, pretty much. I think they've done it themselves, you know, but there's only so many things they can cover up.
Like, you know, a bit like the Diana situation, like the truth is finally coming out, and actually he's just doing exactly what his mum tried to do, and actually he's completely within his right to do that. So yeah, absolutely.
And then what do you think the Queen would make of this at the moment?
I have a feeling
She's probably relieved that she doesn't have to deal with it at the minute.
Yeah, it would definitely be a case of she's probably relieved not to have to deal with it, but then I think she would also understand.
She always put on a brave face, like publicly. She was always very good at kind of separating those two. Like I know that she had instances with Diana where there was some tension there and like in their personal lives, but she was still able to kind of put on a brave face.
Yeah.
She would probably be doing much of the same at the minute. Whether or not that would be the right call, I don't really know.
Yeah, I would agree. I think she'd be putting on a brave face, but you can also tell that Harry was kind of her favourite. So I'm a little bit like, I wonder if she's secretly rooting for him. But then she's not alive to deal with it, so she's probably like, yeah, go on.
Not everyone was keen to fight for Sussex. Excuse me, guys. Do you fancy joining Prince Harry's army?
Joining what, sorry?
Prince Harry's army.
No, thank you.
Why not?
Because we're not royalists. It feels to me kind of like PR from both sides. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the royal family is racist, and I think that the reason why they've cast Harry and Meghan out is because Meghan is black. But I don't think, I think they've kind of, they've done so many interviews and so much stuff, it feels like they're just trying to sort of bar themselves up, I guess. Like, they just sort of want to be seen as these sort of wondrous people when Harry was perfectly happy being in the royal family and acting the way they do before he married Meghan Markle, and now just like, I don't know.
It's become quite performative,
yeah.
I think, a lot of it. So I try not to get too involved in reading about it because it's just a lot of point scoring on both sides, and it's just quite exhausting.
But at the same time, they're kind of almost being like deified by sort of centre-left journalists and politicians when they're just people. They're just people who happen to be born into a family of obscene wealth and don't want to be a part of it anymore. Which, don't get me wrong, like that's a good thing. I think that's quite sort of commendable. But I don't think if Harry had married a working class black woman who wasn't a very wealthy actress, I don't think they would have made as big a sort of like song and dance about being in the royal family if they had done it at all, because they can go from living in obscene wealth to living in very healthy wealth, so it doesn't really matter to them outside of the sort of like familial implications, I suppose.
I wouldn't fight for either one of them.
Do you not like them?
No.
Why don't you like them?
I'm not into the royal family. I mean, I've got nothing against them personally, but I just don't believe in them as an institution.
Have you kept up with kind of the quarrel with the publication of his new book?
Little bit, yeah.
What do you make of that?
Some of the things that have been said. Not a lot. It seems like idle gossip, really. I'm not interested in what they get up to behind closed doors. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of the press attention on all of it?
Unnecessary, bit of a distraction given everything else that's going on. Yeah. A lot more important issues. Yeah.
What are those more important issues?
Inflation, cost of living, the right to strike, the right to protest. What else? War in Ukraine, NATO membership, possible nuclear Armageddon. Climate crisis. Yeah. List goes on, doesn't it? Really? Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
For me. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for talking.
All right. No worries. Cheers.
Prince Harry's conflict with the rest of the royal family has become a lightning rod for discourse. Any hypothetical battle between the Dukes of Sussex and Cambridge could become a literal culture war. You could see James O'Brien on horseback knocking an LBC collar's head off with a mace because Prince Harry's victory might undo Brexit. Maybe Julia Hartley-Brewer would be leading the infantry on Prince William's side because she heard that Prince Harry was vaccinated. There are a million more important issues to be concerned about, rather than a fraternal quarrel between two people you've never met. But you have to admit, seeing a full civil war would be class.